here's somebody else who I'm a little concerned about these days. It's Liz Hurley. I shouldn't be too worried about Miss Liz because she's got an awesome horoscope. According to this time that I have, and if it's correct, Virgo rising, the ruler of her chart is Gemini, Mercury and Gemini there, and it's up in the 10th house of career. And she has Jupiter, North Node, Mercury, and the Sun all sitting together in the sign of Gemini up in the 10th house. This tells me that she is always in the right place at the right time and extremely lucky in her career. Unfortunately, all of this is at the apex of a T-square. She has the Mars, Pluto, Uranus opposed to Saturn over here, throwing the T-square up to the 10th. Okay, it looks like she can have a pretty tense time. You know, it looks like she gets very intense sometimes. And don't forget her moon is in Scorpio. So she does hold a grudge and she is very emotionally cathartic. The one thing that I'm thinking about right now is up in the sky, you know, Saturn is beginning to approach her sun. It's just gone over into the 10th house. And it's interesting because it's the ruler of her house of children. And so it's setting off this T-square, this whole thing, as is Pluto. Pluto's hitting this Saturn by square and her Sun by opposition coming up, and also her Mercury, the ruler of her horoscope. So it looks like the next couple of years is going to be a really interesting time for her. She's going to have her hands full, in other words. So I'm hoping that everything works out the way she wants it to. I think you might know that she's already pregnant. Most people know this already. And she's contesting who's the father of that baby. And so she may be having her hands full with a lawsuit is what I'm seeing right there. Okay, Jodie Foster, here's one of those Moon Pluto people for you. She's got the Moon Uranus Pluto conjunct, and it's in the sign of Virgo. And she's a Scorpio. Right now up in the sky, she's going to have Pluto come over the ascendant over the next 2 years as Uranus is squaring her sun. And this looks to be like a time of great change, but yet a great time of opportunity for her. Because as Pluto comes over the ascendant, she's going to come into her own power. Uranus rules the 3rd house, and the Sun is ruling the 9th house. So there seems to be like some kind of big lessons that she's just about to learn. So I think it's a good thing. And you know what's so interesting? She's got her Mars is in the sign of show business Leo. And what's really interesting to me is that she's born on Meg Ryan's birthday. And Meg Ryan has the same Moon, Pluto, Uranus, but in a different aspect. Now, Jodie Foster has the Moon, Pluto, Uranus opposed to Jupiter, and so does Meg Ryan, but they fall into different houses. Jodie's Jupiter is in the 3rd house. This is the house of communication and learning, and she was very smart. The Jupiter belongs in Pisces, and it's in the 3rd house of learning, so she's probably a gifted teacher as well. Meg Ryan, born November 19th, the same birthday, has a little bit different. Actually, they're born, I have to tell you, they're born the same day, same year, okay? So Meg Ryan's got the Cancer rising, so she's more emotional than Jodie Foster. Here's her Moon, Uranus, Pluto combo opposed to Jupiter. It's going from the 8th house into the 2nd house, so I don't know, I would say it has more to do with her values than her mind. And also, I want to say, you know, they both have the Mars and Leo, but Meg up here is also going to go through some changes. She's got Neptune about to come and trying this midheaven, making her even more spiritual as Uranus is squaring the Sun. So, and Uranus for her is the 8th house. Maybe Meg is going to get into some kind of a study of astrology or something like that. Some kind of new modality is what I'm thinking. Interesting to note, too, that George W. Bush and the Dalai Lama have the same birthday. I'll have them on the show later on this month. That'll be fun to look at. Billy Bob Thornton, he's another one of those Moon Pluto guys. You know, Moon Pluto people are very intense. I want to say that the Moon Pluto Uranus combination is a sign of somebody who is so gifted and has so much richness inside of them. They are just brimming with ideas and insights and understandings. So both of those women are very powerful. Billy Bob Thornton, by the way, has a Moon-Pluto opposition, and so it tells me, I think, maybe that the women in his life are more powerful. Okay, it does make him, because the opposition involves the other person. So his woman, his moon in his life is very occultic, very powerful, very multi-orgasmic, as we know his wife Jolie is. Anyway, he's got the Scorpio rising. Maybe, I'm sorry, I don't have the exact time here. I can't say that for sure. Okay. He's got Venus and Uranus and Mercury all sitting together. This is a sign of somebody with tremendous charisma. The Sun and Jupiter and Mars, everything he does, he's got the Midas touch. He's very successful. However, not all the time, because Saturn is squaring it. So when the planets are right, he'll be very successful. And then sometimes he has long periods of delay in between his artistic projects. I put Carol Burnett up here because she just lost a daughter, and I thought, oh my, let's look at her 5th house of children. How sad. I want to say that Carol Burnett was born April 26, 1933. She got a Pisces rising. Her Neptune sits with Mars and Jupiter. Very good for show business, by the way. And the house of children here, it has Pluto, so a very close contact with her daughter, very powerful connection psychically. And the moon is the ruler. And if you look at her moon, wow, she just had Uranus squaring her moon. And if you look at her Venus, she just had Neptune opposing it, and squaring it. And then Venus rules the house, the 8th house, the house of death. So it seemed to me that this all has something to do with this passage she's going through. And also, if you look at the house of children, Cancer is there. The moon is the ruler. It sits with that wound, Chiron. So the daughter, the child itself is wounded. Very sad. Because People magazine just ran an article about people who lost half their size. Can you believe it? And yes, she has shed 80 pounds, Miss Liza Minnelli. Let's look at her chart. Liza Minnelli is a Pisces with a Taurus rising. It's easy to put weight on when you have a Taurus rising because it's a fixed sign. And she has her Venus, which is the chart ruler, in the sign of Aries, opposed to Neptune. You must watch out for all kinds of drugs when you have Neptune in the 6th house in conjuncting the ascendant. Even the prescription drugs are not good for you. Natural remedies should be the best thing for you. She's got the moon in Cancer, but it sits with the moon. It sits with the Saturn and the Mars. Ouch, that hurts. 2 malefics on your moon. That's got to be a very tough moon. Hard to be happy when you have that kind of pressure on your moon. Up in the sky, she's recently had Pluto going through the house of transformation, opposing Uranus, as Saturn's been sitting on it. And I think it just talks about a major personal revolution. I'd also like to say that she has, in her solar arc directed chart, Chiron at 15 degrees of Sagittarius, and that's where Pluto has been, and it's doing its work for her, because when Pluto comes to your Chiron, you have the opportunity to turn a lifetime of wounds into a healing on a soul level and a physical level. It's a time of mass healing. So she got really lucky with that, and she took that opportunity upon herself and changed her life.